Hi guys, I am back. What I just did was after I applied the first layer of glitter, I took it outside and I sprayed just a thin coat of this, like just kind of brushed it over it. I then let the cup sit for maybe 10 minutes so that it is dry. That way I can apply my second coat pretty quick and get this cup done. Now what I did realize when I went outside in the sun is on my first application, I did the champagne, gold, copper, and then the pink. And in the sun, I like the way the champagne looks closer to the copper than the gold. So on my second application of glitter, I'm gonna start with gold, then to champagne, then to copper, then to pink. So sorry, that's a little change up from the first layer, but I wanted to be really clear on the changes I was making. So we're going to start with our first layer of Mod Podge. Again, I am using dishwasher safe Mod Podge with a paintbrush. Whoop. Good thing this is my craft desk and not the kitchen table. I was doing this on the kitchen table and making a big mess. So now I have a place to do it where it's okay if I make a mess. I am almost out of Mod Podge in this bottle. If you guys have any questions, leave comments and I will get back to you as quickly as I can, or send us an email and we will answer it. Okay, I'm just getting this Mod Podge applied all the way around. Again, being careful to make sure that there aren't any buildup of the Mod Podge. I don't want any lines on here because those will show up with the glitter. So smoothing all that out, I am going to start with the gold from Recollections. I'm going to start with that on the very bottom. And this is the step where the blending is going to be a little more precise. So with the first color, it's not so important because that's your starting point. But if you hold the glitter a little further away from the cup and just tap your finger and dust it where your two colors are going to meet, and you can do that with the next color as well, then you get a little bit better blend on your ombres. The next color I'm using is Champagne. And again, I'm going to hold it pretty high up here and I'm going to dust it right over where that gold is, because those two colors are going to blend together. Do that all the way around, and then I can go a little closer and concentrate right above where I did that blend. And then again, a little lightly right above it where the next color is going to blend. The next color I'm using is Copper from Recollections. And I'm going to start by holding it up here so I can blend it into that champagne. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing or not. Let's try this. Okay. Same thing, getting a little more concentrated right through the middle. And then where the next two colors are going to blend, bring it out again and just lightly dust where those two colors are going to meet. Last color is the Shell Pink from Sparkle and Sprinkle. And I've been on the hunt for a really good rose gold. So since I'm at almost the bottom of this Shell Pink, which is beautiful by the way, I'm letting it mix with the extras that fell off of my cup from the champagne and the gold and the copper. And I'm hoping that when I dump that back in the bottle, it's going to make a pretty rose gold, but we'll see. It's an experiment. So my second layer of glitter is done. You guys can see that. So I have gold, champagne, copper, and Shell Pink from Sparkle and Sprinkle. I say that wrong every time. sparkleandsprinkle.com. The other three are Recollections brand. So I am going to tap the excess glitter off of this. I'm going to do a second burst with the clear glitter sealer. And after my clear glitter sealer dries, I'm going to apply the dried flowers. So stay tuned for the next step. I will be right back. Okay, you guys, I am back. For this next step, my glitter is dry. It's the 2 layers with the gold, champagne, copper, and pink. And I sprayed a layer of clear glitter sealer over it and let that set for about 10 minutes before I'm starting this next step. What I'm going to still be using is the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, but I'm going to use a smaller brush this time. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I just put some of it in the lid so that I can get it easier than trying to dip in the bottle. Now I have all of these dried flowers and I'm pre-planning where I want each one to go, getting an idea of where I'm going to place them before I stick them down. I'm really liking the way these little guys look on the gold. It's super pretty. So I'm going to use a bunch of these and I'm going to use some of the white daisies. And I'm just going to place those sporadically around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the Mod Podge on my brush and I'm going to paint it on where I want the green leaf to stick. And you can kind of just eyeball it and cover enough to get that to stick down. Just Mod Podge a section big enough to where you can stick your whole leaf to it. Okay, and then place that down. You can pat it with your finger to flatten down all the leaves. You want everything as flat as you can get it. And then you can actually take your Mod Podge and paint it gently over the top so that it seals it down, so that it doesn't lift when you go to do your epoxy step. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing, but let me turn this. Ta-da. Okay, so I just brushed the Mod Podge in a section that was a little bit bigger than the leaf that I'm putting on, and now I'm taking just a little bit on the brush and I'm painting down the branch so that it is completely stuck down to the glitter. See? Now I'm just going to spin this and I'm going to repeat the process. And I might even employ this bigger brush to just get a big chunk on there, and then I'll use the little one for details. So what I did is I just painted on a big section that was large enough to stick the leaf that I'm going to use onto the cup. Okay, same thing. I'm going to take a little Mod Podge on my small brush. Okay, so we just had a brief pause there, right? For a second, we had to switch devices we were recording on. So what I've done is I have painted on some Mod Podge onto the cup where I'm going to be placing my dried leaves and flowers, and I pressed them down with my finger, and then I'm taking a little bit of Mod Podge on my brush and painting it over the top to lay those down so that there's no ends of the leaves or anything sticking up. So when we go to epoxy, it'll be super easy because everything will be smooth. And I added a daisy here, and I'm going to do this all the way around the cup. So I'm going to put this back on my holder. And it is easier to take the bigger paintbrush and just paint a patch on here. And then stick your leaves to it. And then I'm just patting these down with my finger, patting them flat so that they stick to the Mod Podge. And then taking my small brush and again painting right over the top. So I'm going to turn this so you can see. And I'm starting with the edges because if I go straight to the middle, it might shift around on me. And I don't want that. I want it to stay where I put it. So this is really just helping it stick to the Mod Podge underneath without getting it all over your fingers. Trying to keep my head out of the way, guys. Okay, just painting over that. I'm going to paint a little spot right here where my next daisy is going to go, and then I'm going to paint a big spot where the next leaf is going to go as well, so I can keep this moving pretty quick. So that's a Mod Podge spot right there. So I'm going to put a daisy right there. And I'm going to put a leaf right here. And you can go back on this. It's not like once it's done, it's permanent. You want to have an idea of where you want each of the leaves and the flowers to go before you start, because once you paste them down, it would be kind of a bear to remove, but it wouldn't be impossible. So I'm going to take again a little bit of Mod Podge on my brush, and I'm just going to paint down the petals of the flower. A couple of those got folded, so I'm just unfolding those and pasting them down with the Mod Podge. And then again over the top of the leaves, I'm just going right around the edges of the leaf and applying the Mod Podge so that the whole thing will stick down nice and clean to the cup. And I think that this process is going to open a lot of doors for some fun experimenting. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Same thing, I'm just going to keep rotating the cup and adding daisies and leaves until I meet the other side. And for the dried flowers, I'm sure I'm going to get asked, I ordered this whole, if you guys can see all these flowers, I ordered it off of eBay. Stick that down. Again with the big brush. Get a nice little coating of Mod Podge on there so that I can stick a leaf. And I always keep a dish rag close by so that if I get anything on my fingers I don't want, I can wipe that off. The good thing about Mod Podge is it's pretty forgiving. So again, I'm just going in, painting a little bit of Mod Podge onto this, keeping in mind that I don't want any, let me see if I can get this in there. Where the white parts are, that's going to leave lumps. All of that needs to be smoothed out before you move on to the next step. So you want to smooth out all of those little chunks of Mod Podge and just paint this thing so that it's nice and stuck to the cup. This is going to make the epoxy process so much easier because it's just going to be like putting epoxy onto a glitter cup. Just getting all that extra off of there.